This is the Voice of Solutioners. This week, we speak to Claire Hultin.
This is the Voice of Solutioners. I'm Remington Hernandez, and today we are joined by Claire Hultin, who is an event planner and author, and she works here at Serendipia as well. Thank you for joining us, Claire. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So, would you like to tell the audience a bit about yourself?
Sure. Let's see. Where do I start? I'm an author. I wrote 2 books. One is called The Doctrine of Lucid Dreaming. It's based on neuroscience, the study of dreams, the concepts behind our dreams. The second one is called, it's a dating book on comedy. And I wrote that a couple of years ago, right when the online dating trend was kind of skyrocketing with all these different websites and apps. I mean, we're using Tinder now and The League and a couple other different ones that have kind of sprung up. But it was very interesting to write that book. And let's see, I recently moved from Sweden. I had a restaurant there and an event company. It was not something I expected to get involved in, but I loved the experience and it taught me a lot as far as entrepreneurship.
Well then, would you like to talk a bit more about your books and how they were received?
Sure. Well, the first one I wrote in college was one of my great passions, was lucid dreaming and the study of dreams. The second one was very difficult to get out there. I mean, it's very hard to get your book published. We sent out so many query letters, submitting so many different agencies, publishing companies. And I remember being rejected at least 100 times by so many different companies. It's hard to keep positive and keep trudging through those narrow waters. We finally got a few that were interested in our concept, and one that finally published our book out of New York. And that was kind of a very exciting time for me. I was pretty young. And I did a book tour, we did a radio show, we did a lot of different things based on the book. The book was out in Borders bookstores, and it's on Amazon.com today. And I still do book seminars, which are pretty exciting. So yeah, that's the excitement of being a little small-time author, I guess.
Wonderful. Now, you were living in Sweden, now you live here in San Francisco, but how was first moving to Sweden? Because you weren't born there.
That's right, I'm half Swedish. I lived in the US most of my life. I had lived in Sweden when I was a child for a year or two, I believe. But it was a very interesting experience. I moved there, I wasn't completely, I was conversational, but I didn't know the language too well, and as soon as I moved there, I went straight into going to school to learn a new language. I went for 5 hours a day, and I studied 3 hours a day, and I was pumping a new language into my system, and it was hard. It was very difficult to try to integrate into a new society, and that's how I had started my organization and restaurant and event company, was through wanting to build a community for internationals that were new. That maybe they felt alone or disconnected and were trying to integrate into society. So I built Expats in Gothenburg, and we have, I think, 6,000 members and growing.
Wow.
It's been a pleasure to run that and build something to help other people, really.
So you mentioned you started a restaurant when you first moved back to Sweden. Can you explain that a little bit and how that was?
Yeah, absolutely. The restaurant was an interesting concept. It was based mainly on the Expats in Gothenburg organization. We wanted to build an international community, a restaurant, a place where people could have fun, connect with one another, a meeting place, basically. And it started with, I had to put together a business plan. I had 2 business partners that both spoke the language, that knew the restaurant business. I went in and, started a company. Everything was in Swedish. And I had my dad as my accountant, kind of like my financial advisor, and my brother, became the chef and, did a lot of the culinary skills in the back. And it was all like a trial and error kind of process. It was very exciting. And the great thing is that the community really embellished, they really helped build it up with the PR. And, it was the kind of like the top spot for internationals in Gothenburg. So it was a very, very exciting experience.
So you went into it very blindly, but you gained a lot of experience through it and such. Do you have some tips for our viewers about starting a business, maybe even in that, sort of situation?
Absolutely. Well, I think, one of the big things is confidence, putting yourself out there, learning and allowing yourself to make mistakes. I mean, it's really progress, not perfection. And some of us really want to not make those mistakes. But in order to be, an entrepreneur and build your own business, you're going to make those mistakes in life. Also, I would say having a mentor, having someone that has your best interest at heart, that can give you advice, that has gone through, similar experiences and has gone through the ups and downs of running a business, that can give you valid advice. I think that's a tremendous, that's a tremendous thing to have.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Now, you talked about your group as well, your Expats in Gothenburg. How was it to start a community like that from the ground up, just like the restaurant?
It was very exciting. I mean, I was surprised when I moved to Sweden. There weren't any communities for the internationals. I mean, there were for some of the students, but I didn't find anything that really helped me navigate through the, living as an expat. So when I started it from the ground up, I mean, there were a ton of people that were very appreciative to be able to have a platform they could go to find internships, housing, apartment search, a place where they could meet other people like themselves, a guide that could help them navigate through, Gothenburg, Sweden.
So wonderful. Now, that was a group of about how many people?
6,000 people and counting.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, do you have any plans for that group now that you're out of Sweden?
I'm not sure yet. I've been so busy with other endeavors here in the United States. I would like to do something as far as altruism. I'd like to either, my dad is kind of involved with running it a little bit here and there now, but I would like to keep building it up. I mean, right now it's a nonprofit organization. People are able to, use it as a platform, but I would love to, put some new ideas into it and see where it goes from there.
Wonderful. And you worked as well here at Serendipia with our events. Can you explain what those are like?
Absolutely. Serendipia the events are completely different in a sense that there's so much more creative energy that goes into it, which I love. I feel like, it's you're networking with some of the most creative entrepreneurs, and not just entrepreneurs, but social entrepreneurs, people that want to better the world, people that want to do good things for other people. And that's something that I love to work with. I mean, it's just so altruistic and just such a different energy. So, we're doing talks, we're doing forums, we are, doing a lot of different workshops, and it's such a beautiful thing to see events that I've done in the past. It could be for internationals, could be for the city or corporate events or, nightclub events, but this is totally different in a totally different area. And it's the most exciting area to be in.
Wonderful. Do you have a certain solution for the world? Because you've been to a lot of places and you've had a lot of experiences. Do you have a solution to some of the problems, maybe one problem, a huge problem?
I think one issue I know personally that I have had is stress. Being a type A person, I'm always trying to do many different things, juggling a ton of different projects at once. And I think that if we were able to have kind of a solution to stress-related things that are going on into our lives, like to build kind of like a practice of meditation or yoga or positive energy or just being around other people that we can kind of build each other's confidence and help one another. I think having that kind of like Serendipia, really, having that as part of our lifestyle really changes the way that we perceive life and the way that we live, and for the better.
Wonderful. Well, Claire Hultin, it's been a pleasure having you on this Voice of Solutioners. Thank you for coming. I've been Remington Hernandez, and this is the Voice of Solutioners. Join us next week for another great guest, and see you next time. Thanks for watching.
This has been the Voice of Solutioners, presented by Serendipia. To stay up to date, like us on Facebook at facebook.com/serendipialife. Thanks for watching.